Bueno, mi gente, como siempre, please allow me to start off by thanking everybody for you guys' words, prayers, for your great support, and for all those that take a minute out your day to leave a comment, even if it just says "Cubo," saludos, or whatever it may be. Muchísimas gracias. Also, I know there's been a couple camaradas that send me emails, and I'm a little bit under the water from the last incident where I ended up in the hospital. Still trying to bounce up, man, but little by little, I boy. And do know that by tomorrow you will have a reply. Disculpen on the lag, I tend to answer everyone. I'm serious when I said, I was gonna be more in touch with you guys, and I tend to keep my word. Now to get into the story on hand, I just want to talk a little bit about how greed and politics works in the MA, when it's really frowned upon. And this is coming from a Pili that at one point he was a pusher or the implementer or implemented real strong on politicking, on stepping other carnales toes, on not giving a carnal that much power. But anyways, for this I'm gonna take you back to 2001, in the beginning, somewhere around there. Like I said in past stories, at this time I was privileged to see our gente on A yard for Terco. And as I said in past stories, when I was there I worked Central Kitchen en las tardes. So back there with me there was a camarada, Rich, and I'll just leave his name like that. And he was a really firme vato. He was out from Palm Springs, from Palmas, and he was a little older than me. He had me about maybe 8, 9 years. He was a little bit older, but he was real cool. At this time I still smoke frajos, and so we tend to come out, and sit down and just converse. Just converse about anything really. Sometimes we let our mind loose and just started talking about different stuff, that didn't have to do nothing with prison. But anyways, and the times that we went back out there, I already knew he was a Maiceron, he was a baller. He had a he had ways to bring in at least meth, glass, and cause I got told from Terco, that he was gonna be touching down, and to allow him to do his thing, to hit and move his merchandise, su peso, to have him move him the way he wanted to move it. At the end of the day, he was kicking back too sleepy, and he respected that. Just basically, just to let him do his thing and not trip. He didn't have to kick back down to us. So it went forward like that. One day we're sitting outside Central Kitchen, and he basically started telling me why he had access like that. Now, the reason I'm even speaking about this camarada is for what happened, and there's a happy ending to him. It ain't like the other ones where just basically, they give their life up and they end up where they didn't never wanted to be at, or whatever it may be, right? But anyways, getting back into the story, I disculpen. He tells me that for years he's been on the streets, just moving weight, from from Palm Springs all the way down to Calexico, all in that little area, that and he's always blessed the Pili, Sleepy, the Pili from Calexico, Betancourt, and basically he's always ran smooth. He had never tied himself up with other things. Basically, how he had access to Hale, to meth, was he was married to a white chick, which I'm not gonna expose her name on here, and she was a real good cook, man. She knew how to, from scratch, get a batch going and make some fire, and that's how he didn't have to go out and look for the correct avenue to touch down and spread it, or even go to them and tell them, like, hey, I'll buy from you and just bless me or protect me moving it. It basically came from them, and out of heart they were kicking down to the Pili. So it was like that for years. But he was about to parole, around this time he was about to parole. And he was a little bit worried. So it's where our conversation started from, when it was based on this. And I asked him why. As far as I know, the Senor you're touching down or your blessing is real well like. It came even from the Senor here to allow you to do your thing, and why you worried? So he started telling me that over the years, you know, the Pili cycle from Avenues, he's been having workers out there, and he's been pressing that line. So not to start a war, I guess they started working together. I don't know in what sense. I don't know if Sleepy was feeling some type of way already, or he was turning things around for Psycho, leaving him there, or I just don't know that it was just one of those things, that camaradas from Coachella, because I knew at this time that Indio from Indio and Payaso from Coachella, and what was the other homie's name? I believe was Weasel. I believe Weasel from Coachella as well. They were all under Psycho, and they had gone in and out, so I knew they were basically spreading the Pilis palabras on the streets. Now, I'm not from this area, so I couldn't really tell you how it was. All I know that they were working together. They were out there doing their thing, and they weren't getting on each other's way. It was just like a respect thing. But I guess in the wiggle or the movement of everything, someone told Psycho's worker, hey, allá está homegirl del homie, she's a cook, man. That's someone to have under her wing. Now, just to keep it a buck with everybody, at this time, you didn't see none of the things you're seeing now. They weren't messing like that with family. At least not out in the open. Especially if there was another Pili assigned to this area. Even if they went up in there and stepped on toes or tried to encroach, they still would not push as far as to get at family the wrong way. But it's just the way he was showing that he wanted to take over, basically, because he started pricing on girl. So again, ours back here still locked up, and he's worried of what's gonna be, because as things were, they were just pressing, but they weren't taking it from there, right? So he was gonna get out though, and him being a camarada, now the issue could be addressed to him the way that they do address camaradas, right? So, anyways, when I was in Iowa, man, he paroled. He went out there, did his thing, and it was just one of those things, that once you start going to CDC and being on parole, man, it's like you keep going in and out, man. The system is meant for you to always come back over under anything. Well, at this time, you've seen. So a couple months passed by, and Homeboy drove back up to the yard, right? And so So I told him, he did not end up in Central Kitchen no more, but we seen each other in the yard, and I told him, what happened, dog? He just left. And he straight told me, he got out there, and there was new rules and regulations when it came to doing things. Not only, I guess, Sleepy, when him and his girl were doing his thing, he wasn't requesting anything. It was like whatever came out the heart, it was appreciated, right? And which to me was weird, because everything I heard about this Billy, it was he was put out there to be like not a cool Billy, right? But me personally, I never had crossings with him, so I couldn't tell you. But this is coming from the homie, right? And but Psycho had a whole different dilemma, man. He wanted he wanted a third. He wanted to know, you know, when they made a batch, how much was made. He wanted one of his soldados to go out there and check out how much was made, and he was limited to certain towns and areas. It wasn't like with Sleepy where he had open territory to go. At least in that area. And he could always just pull out the card. Que he's responding to homeboy. It just went different. I think Psycho was just one of those in the beginning that started pressing that line on camaradas. Started implementing new things, new ways of doing stuff, right? And this is long before they got out the shoe. And but as time went by, I left him. I left him when I did the huevorito from Artesia Chivas. I left him there. He had a couple months left. We didn't really conversate too much no more after. Hey, what happened while you're back? Since that conversation, and besides, ¿Qué hubo? ¿Cómo estás? And you need anything and things like that, right? And I left. I went to the hole, everything. Time passed by, and it had to be a little bit after I hit Pelican Bay, 2005. And as I said in past stories, when I hit Pelican Bay, I'm not gonna say whether Sherm was the Billy, but he was well respected and feared from most of Billy's, especially those that didn't have that much power, man. He was everywhere. Sincerely, he was everywhere. He had soldados on every yard almost. He had barrios on the calles. He politic against other carnales that he felt weren't gonna push back, and basically took their stuff. Not in the open like that, but you guys get. I'm trying to avoid all the how he did it, but he did it, man. He had other Billies plotting to do things on Verdes. He was out there, man. You know what I mean? Even I remember the IGI when it came to talking to him was on toes. He was feared. He had a lot of power. He was a heavyweight. There was a bunch of wars going on. From C to D facility, the little incidents that were being put out there from different factions feuding against each other for power, and he maintained. He was doing his thing. They didn't need to ally. There's a big ramfla of Pilis from SD up there, and anyways, sorry I got lost in the conversation, but at this time, he wanted some of that. Man. For those that are from this area, know what is, Palm Springs, Coachella, Indio, all that little area, El Centro, todo down to Mexicali. There was other Pilis from San Diego that were somewhat there. There was the peeling out in Mexicali too, that he had that avenue. And again, Weather Sherm being that individual, he started sending soldados out there because he had a lot of camaradas from that area, man, from El Centro, from just from that area, man. I could remember at least 5, 6 different camaradas from Coachella that were in touch with him, that were doing a lot of things for him, to be sincere, and they were in and out. He was smart in that sense, where the people that were earners, he tried to shield them and have them hit the streets, man. That's where the feria was at. Inside prisons was headaches, wars, and now keep in mind though, Weddle wasn't just a good politician, man. When it came to covering up one eye while he's doing another thing with another, what I mean by this is he was one of the ones that built the Mesa system. I can think of 3 Pilis he washed up while we were out there in Pelican Bay for politicking, for being on the yard and taking over a yard without the proper channels, for not using the Mesa system, which he wasn't. Where he had control on the yards, he wasn't. But getting back to R, and somehow a camarada out there, same thing, brought up R and his wife. At this time, homeboy's still on the streets. He's doing his thing. I don't know if the thing he meddled out with Psycho, and Weirdo sent his torpedoes out there, and told him basically he wasn't the type that was gonna tell you, like, hey, esto y esto otro. No, you're gonna do it. You're gonna do it regardless, or you know what I mean. And he would leave it on set, but everybody that knew Weddle knew what was gonna happen. There was no buts or ifs. If he said you were done, you were done. Period. He didn't have to try to sugarcoat anything. As I knew him, he never sugarcoated anything. I disculpen. And he started warring. He started warring with Pee Wee on the street, low key. When things came back and hit the fan up in Pelican Bay, it was always a camarada doing things on his own, using his name in vain, without him organizing it. Basically, it was just like camarada did orders the way he was told, and when it hit the fan up there and it was brought up, I don't even know the camarada. Something to that effect, right? Which is real common, Camaradas are loyal and go out there and do what they're told to do, and they're left alone, right? When the bad stuff happens. So, anyways, again, the Pili Güero, my respects, because he was up there with wolves, and I'm not gonna say he was the Pili up there, because in sense there ain't supposed to be one, but everybody respected him amongst them, And as you guys seen, he did what it wasn't tolerated. Period. Go out and talk to IGI. Get on camera and just get on camera alone, man. And just to get back to the story, somewhere along the line, R got arrested again, and while he was arrested, he cut a little short term, but he had that bad luck, I gotta say, where the shoe they decided to direct him to was Pelican Bay. And when he hit Pelican Bay, I was on this side, and that's where he hit. So at the same time, I was like, man, Camarada is lucky, that at least the señor is on that side, right? He's gonna hear about it, but at least it ain't gonna be like an everyday thing, right? What I didn't know though that his wife on the street, she kept doing her thing, you know. It was just to be sincere, it's just you guys know, you know, we come from the gutter. So it was a couple that's where they made their bank from, you know. It was what they were used to. And again, you know, is what we know what to do, you know. So she kept doing her thing while he was busted. Whatever they had established with Psycho and Sleepy out there, I guess it was cool for her to keep wiggling as long as she did what she was supposed to, right? But they had they had this man knocking on their door too. He had soldados out there, like I mentioned, you know. Not to mention the ones he had around Riverside and all that little area around there. And since they started not answering to his demands, he started sending torpedoes to actually clip her for everything. Feria todo. I mean, a woman by herself and sending soldados out there is just, it shouldn't be a mafioso's way of doing things, right? But it was happening. Now, when R was up there in Pelican Bay, man, I guess the Pili got at him, and I know so because he reported the Wheeler. But the Pili that he reported to from Fresno, he basically didn't want to do that. He didn't want to press the issue on Güero. And this is all on honest truth, you know. The old time Pili, when he seen who they were directing the Wheeler against, he said, "Hey, it'll pass. Just keep going about your business. It'll pass. Just chuck up the loss. Excuse me. It will pass like that." So I mean, if you put yourself in the camarada situation, he is blessing the organization regardless if it's not one individual or the next, right? He was okay with one, and then another one comes in. He changes the whole game around, demands more, and he applies. And then here comes another Pili being greedy, want what another Pili don't have when he has a grip, but power, man, power consumes, and he wants more. You know, his wife's a cook. It's a little gold mine, right? And again, he has a lot of avenues that went over that border, man. I am gonna get in on a better thing about Weather Sherm. You know, this is about the camarada, right? And I don't know what type of war or things happened where a lot of Psycho's crew got into some stuff in Coachella that Psycho lost a little bit of wiggle room, and that's when Weather started pressing a lot more, you know. But what eventually ended up happening, you know, Homeboy R, he got kicked out to the mainline because he was just doing a little 10-month shoot. He got kicked out there to the 180. That's all shoot got kicked out. And while he was on the yard, there was a mesa established there. And some of that mesa established there was the Pilihueros and his soldados. The minute he got there, it was like, you know, it was like a fat man going into a cake restaurant or factory, you know. They were on him, man. They basically asked him, "You're gonna comply when you parole, or you're gonna make your girl comply?" Que no, because he's answering to Psycho, and he got whacked. He got whacked and removed. Again, locally, the camarada basically seen the writing on the wall, and he checked in, you know. And you can't really fault the guy, right? The people you're showing love to and trying to do things right. It's just every avenue you go on, it's a losing situation for you and your family. So it's like, what is there to keep giving, right? You're in the shoe for doing something. So you're not just taking space, you know, you're reporting the way you're supposed to, you know, you're following what we're supposed to be in there, but it's still not enough. And the other pilis on la mesa that he landed on in Pelican Bay, again, sin decir nada, at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure Guerrero was putting something in their pocket, right? Because I think that's the main reason why they weren't going against him, which was he was putting something in their pocket or in their van or whatever the case may be. And I mean, just look at how I have said it before, man. There's camaradas and soldados going at it with each other to please these individuals, and they were both sitting back there in the shoe like nothing was happening. Hey, bro. Hey, carnal, ¿cómo estás? At the same time, a lot of families are losing on the streets. A lot of camaradas are losing dates, catching more time, losing their careers, whatever the case may be. And to them, it's all a game. When for a sureño, it's a causa, something we must, you know. But I gotta sincerely say, I was one of them. We're brainwashed to the bone. I've seen a lot of people come on YouTube and say, if they weren't there, it would be like this, and that. Come on. Do you guys really believe that? You all could come on here and sincerely say sureños, camaradas, campoleros, raza, period, cannot hold their own? It's been proven before, man. And it's right there. Arizona, New Mexico, Texas. There's been factions that had enough, and they're still there wiggling, still doing their thing. They ain't getting raped, they ain't getting punked, man. I mean, when the mind plays tricks on gente, like it did on myself, the mind looks for 1,000 ways how to fool you. And I understand that. I lived it for a lot of years. I fooled myself to keep pushing for something that the signs are there. And no, I ain't trying to uplift a revolution against them. It ain't why I'm here. I'm here for those that still have time not to go down that lane, man. If you're in the game, if you're loyal to the bone and in that situation where it's a must, handle it, man. Handle it. I hope you have a better ending than thousands of camaradas. I really do. This is for the ones that are not there, that still have time in their life to be better for themselves, for their families, for the raza, man. Don't come on here and say I'm here supporting, protecting, doing things for the raza, and basically de dientes pa fuera, from the teeth forward, right? Because the actions are not saying that, and just pay attention to that. But anyways, mi gente, I said it had a happy ending because at the end, homeboy got whacked, he lost his career, yeah. But it snapped him back into what he needed to snap back. He went back, I guess, grabbed his wife, moved away, and as if what I heard, he's doing his thing. Has a little shop. He's there taking care of his home, his wife, and that's the main purpose of my message, which is, we don't have to end up in a cell, suffering, obeying tecatos,
going out to yard, picking up a piece and going to war with raza, with even camaradas, over pleasing a tecato, his money, his dope. If you have that wiggle room to push forward and do something for yourself, man, go for it, man. Anybody that has any type of love will tell you, I want to see you doing good, not being locked up in a cell. And the reason I'm even putting this story out there is because I recently received an email from Camarada. He seen my videos and he recognized me, and like I stated, I don't have to say who I am. Those that know, right? And I asked him if I could, and he told me to do it. He's away from everything. I tend to do more stories on Coachella because I got a lot of familia there, so I do want to touch on it a little bit further. As the Pilis, you guys know how it turned out. Güero, he caught his soleta to the feds. Sleepy, pues ya saben. Psycho, ahí anda, pressing on the gente 1,000 times worse. But again, he's in that pedestal that he thinks he's invincible, and he has the backbone of having family members that are in the same spot. He's just in his mind, Dios sobre tierra, right? But again, I just wanted to share this with you guys. Discúlpame if I sound under the water. I send my love to everyone. I hope everybody's always blessed. Muchísimas gracias. Please stay true to yourself, loyal to your loved ones. Muy buenas noches.